welcome to Take It From Tara. And that was our lovely Jingle Queens, Korean Hetty. Thank you so much for that beautiful jingle, Korean Hetty. And we have a great show lined up for you. Our special musical guest, stepping in at the last minute, as all hero musicians do, is Paul T. Carney. Welcome, Paul. Glad to have you with us.
Glad to be here.
He's going to be playing throughout the show. We're going to give him a few featured spots so he can really impress you with his extraordinary guitar skills. And we have some great guests tonight. I'll get to this first guy in just a second. He's awfully cute, and you probably saw him on my show many, many moons ago, Louisville Live, which aired on television. So he came back to celebrate with me tonight. This is Donald Taylor, and I'll tell you exactly what he's going to talk about in a minute. Teresa Scherfius has a unique approach to physical fitness, especially for those who are rehabbing from an injury. So we're going to be talking to her about some exciting new ideas and concepts in physical therapy that just might be of help to you. Barb Cullen from the Armored Car Theater Company shares her plans to create more rehearsal space for those of us who live for acting in Louisville, and there are plenty of us. And Martha Creek is going to defy the Mayan calendar, which says the world will end in 4 days. She says no, it's a rebirth, and we're going to be talking about the Birth 2012 event. Now, Paul Carney is just giving us a little taste of his beautiful guitar music to open our show, so let's just hear from him for about a minute, and then we're going to come back and talk to Donald Taylor. Paul? Beautiful. Just beautiful.
This program is sponsored in part by Barry Uli Designs. A trip to Barry Uli Designs is an experience you won't forget. Conveniently located in downtown Louisville at 835 East Main Street, the retail showroom is full of furniture, artwork, rugs, lamps, accessories, and includes a full-service kitchen design center. Customer service always comes first. 502-569-7101. You can also discover more Barry Uli designs at Goss Avenue Antiques and Interiors or online at barryuli.com.
So we thank Barry Uli for his sponsorship of the show, and we have a longtime community leader with us in the studio tonight. Donald Taylor, so good to see you again.
It's great to see you again. It's been way too long.
It has been way too long. We occasionally will pick up a Heine Brothers and just have a chat,
Yep.
But our lives have been so busy that we actually had to involve work to get us together.
Well, it's hardly work when you enjoy what you do.
Well, that's exactly right.
But it is work at the same time.
Donald is the head of the Louisville Youth Group, and this is a great organization that has worked for many years, as a matter of fact, celebrating a big birthday coming up here soon,
Yes.
to encourage, to promote, and to really protect our LGBTQIA youth in town.
Yes.
Now, for those who are not familiar, give us the acronyms explanation.
Sure. So we've expanded it to be more inclusive and make sure that everybody really has a place to belong.
Wonderful.
So LGBTQ is generally what we use: lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, intersex, and allied youth. So we want to make sure that we have a place and Louisville that truly is a compassionate city that embraces and involves everybody as part of our city.
So I'm going to just key on the last letter, allied
Okay.
youth.
Yep.
You don't have to be lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, intersex to join. You can be just a plain old straight person.
Absolutely. Well, we need more of you to make more of us.
Exactly.
So that's one way to look at it. So we embrace you as well. We also recognize that throughout history, there have been no real social justice movements that have been completely successful without involving the entire community, and that
Exactly.
involves our allies as well. We can't do this in a vacuum, and we recognize that we didn't create the problems, and we're not going to solve the problems on our own. So we certainly
Exactly.
need some help with that.
Well, so think about the fact that during the horrible civil rights movement issues that we dealt with, if a number of white leaders had not stepped up in support of the black population, we never would have achieved civil rights. The same thing here. Straight, gay, whatever anyone is, welcome to be a part of Louisville Youth Group. And now tell us about the birthday celebration, because I'm excited for you.
I am too. We're finally 22.
Wow.
We're getting up there in age.
That's right.
I think we're going to be 29 and holding for a while. That seems to be the trend.
And I saw on the website some of the kids said, that's older than us.
Yeah. They finally put 2 and 2 together because we serve 14 to 20-year-olds.
Yes.
And so our very first event was December 21st, 1990. And so this Friday, December 21st, which is not the end of the world.
Exactly.
Or at least if it is, we're going out in style. We're going to be celebrating our 22nd birthday. So we are inviting everyone to come down to First Lutheran Church, 417 East Broadway, and celebrate with us. We'll have some birthday cake. We'll have some cookies. I don't know what else we're going to have. But you'll also be able to meet some of the youth and some of the parents and some of our board members who are really impacted by the organization and who really
Wonderful.
go out and do the work on our behalf.
Now, I'm interested in your pen, and you
Yes.
gave me one, and you ordered these specially, I think, for the occasion as a birthday present that you're giving out to everybody else in celebration of your 22nd birthday at Louisville Youth Group. I am worth it. I love that.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about it, Donald.
Yeah, so I have these crazy ideas all the time, and one of them was how changed would our world be if we can all do one random act of kindness per day for the end of the year? And then I thought, well, why wait till the end of the year? Let's just keep doing it throughout the whole year. So I ordered these pens, and how awesome would it be if every child can truly say, I'm worth it,
Yes.
and just look at this pen and remember and keep reminding themselves, I'm worth it. Whatever it is, I'm worth standing up for. I'm worth staying alive for. I'm worth having a good future. I'm worth waiting until I have a good relationship. Whatever it is, I'm worth it. I really think that when we begin to be able to say that and claim it and own it, then I think we're really going to start to solve some of the problems that we've been experiencing.
What are you experiencing as the leader of this youth group, Donald? And as an awesome role model, I know I've seen you in action. I know the kids absolutely adore you. What are you seeing that is driving kids to your group? And what is it that you are telling them to help them deal with the stresses of living their lives differently?
Well, I think they come. I don't think they come. I know they come. They tell us. It is for many of them a second family, and for even many more of them, it is a first family.
That's right.
So many of them don't have feel they don't have a supportive teacher or faculty member. They don't have a supportive parent, so they come to us and they kind of get that surrogate family feel, and they keep coming back, and then they tell their friends how awesome it is, and they keep coming back. And we get a lot of straight kids who say, I didn't know if I was going to fit in. I didn't know what it was going to be like, and it was so great to just not even be asked. And it's just a place for young people to come and to be and to explore and to really grow into whoever they want to be. What we're telling them is you just need to stay alive.
Exactly.
That's what we're really focusing on, and we're working with the state Department of Behavioral Health on a lot of suicide prevention. And so this time of year, suicide attempts and rates go up astronomically.
Absolutely.
And so we're just letting our kids know you are worth remaining alive for. We need you. We value you. You have a lot of worth in this community, and you need to stay alive to realize that. And so what can we do to help you stay alive? And we just put it out there.
This kind of group and this kind of preventive measure could have made a difference in the life of the young man who committed the heinous crimes of last Friday in Newtown, Connecticut, and may have saved the lives of 20 children and all the adults who died that day as well.
It's quite possible. I don't want to make any assumptions about what was going on in his mind. I do know that many of the young people that come to us troubled.
Yes.
They come to us a little bit wayward. Not all of them, but many of them. And then they walk away with a deeper sense of self, a deeper sense of who they are and their place in the community, and that they actually have a place in the community. And when you can feel that you have a place in the community, you are less likely to engage in these community destruction or self-destruction or people destruction types of behavior.
Absolutely. All right. You have a great group of kids, but you also have to have a lot of adults to manage the kids. Because as we know, that age between 14 and 20, I bet you were a bundle of fun when you were between 14 and 20. I know I was.
I was the favored one of my family.
Of course you were. I know that.
I learned from my brother.
I've met some of your family members, and I remember your beloved grandmother who passed this last year and how much she
January
adored you.
She was awesome, and she appreciated you coming to visit.
And what a great gift that was to me. So I know what she saw in you is what you see in these kids that you're dealing with every day. So you use adult mentors, and you ask for adult mentors from the community to come and be a part of Louisville Youth Group.
Yep. So it's my goal as sort of the head of the organization with our board is to make sure that every young person that comes through our door has someone that's like them in a leadership position.
Wonderful.
Someone that they can say, oh my gosh, they're like me and they made it out alive and they're a good person. I too can do that. And so we're always looking to broaden and diversify our mentor base as well as our board base. You can go to LouisvilleYouthGroup.com. Real easy to remember. We've had it since before the .org. So LouisvilleYouthGroup.com, and you can find out a lot of ways to become involved. If you don't have the time, energy, desire to be involved with 14 to 20-year-olds on a regular basis, we certainly welcome you to open your checkbook, and you can write us a check. It takes a lot of money to keep the doors open.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of ways that you can get engaged. It really is an entire community effort to make sure that all of our kids stay alive. It is not just ours.
And if you look at the schedule on the Louisville Youth Group website, you see game night, and you see social hour, and you see, I mean, tutoring. They're providing, you guys are actually sitting in the room providing tutoring for kids who need help after school who aren't getting it elsewhere.
You're going to love this one.
What?
It's our second year. Last year they asked me, and I was emotionally drained, as you know, from all the stuff going on. So I said yes, I was delusional. But they came to me and they said, you know, we really want a safe alcohol and drug-free, I'm very anti-substance use and abuse. We want a safe drug and alcohol-free space to celebrate and party for New Year's Eve.
Wonderful.
Can we have a New Year's Eve lock-in? The first year I said no. The second year I wasn't so emotionally strong, and I said yes. And so it was the time, I mean, it was the best celebration and ringing in of a new year that I personally can remember, being surrounded by 25 young people who really have so much promise for the new year. So we're doing that again this year.
Wonderful.
Alcohol-free, we're not even tipping at midnight, you know, a fake glass, because it's just not what we're about.
Well, sparkling cider, that's what I drink.
Yep.
I mean, I'm going on 30 years of sobriety. I better stick with the sparkling cider now. On March the 6th, we'll celebrate my birthday.
All right. Well, congratulations.
So, Donald, what I'd really like to know is what we can do right now to help with Louisville Youth Group. I know you're on your way to a board meeting, and we've got to get you out of the studio in just a minute here, but what can we do besides volunteer ourselves to be adult mentors? We can invite the children that we know to join and be a part of Louisville Youth Group. You certainly do accept checks. What else can we do?
I think the most important thing to do is to start to look in the mirror and make sure that your actions are the same actions that you want our young people to see. Are you living a strong life? Are you living a life that you would want our young people to model and to emulate? If so, wonderful, keep doing it. If not, start to make those changes.
Amazing.
Live the life that you want our young people to see, and then find a way to get involved in some youth organization, some equality organization. There are a ton of them out there. We happen to be one really awesome one that's 22 years old. There are others that are equally awesome. Just get involved. Do something. Don't sit on your couch. Don't become what I call a Facebook activist.
Go outside yourself, in other words.
Yep.
Yep, great idea. LouisvilleYouthGroup.com. You're welcome to check them out on Facebook, and thank you for the pens. We've handed them out to Kathy Weisbach here at Crescent Hill Radio to hand to the musicians, and I'm certainly going to distribute them. I'll write a few things, and then I'll just casually leave one on a counter for somebody to see.
Assuming the ink works.
Assuming the ink works, yes. Well, we had a little experiment with that earlier. Martha Creek will attest to the fact that you have to love a pen a lot to warm it up and make the ink work. Donald, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Great to see you. Donald Taylor of the Louisville Youth Group. We're going to hear a little bit more music from Paul Carney while we make our little set mindset change. And coming up next, we're going to be talking to somebody who is an absolute expert in physical therapy. It's the Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group's Teresa Scherfius. She's going to be talking to us about what we can do if we've reached the end of our ropes with the doctors and the docs in the boxes and the hospitals, and they haven't solved the problem. Maybe physical therapy can help. Be right back. What was that called, Paul?
That is a piece called a guajira. It's one of those pieces that came back to Spain after the Spaniards went to Cuba, and it all came back around. That's part of what they call the ida y vuelta.
I love it.
Tradition.
Beautiful.
Back again.
You can hear Paul playing with Flamenco Louisville all over town, but he is a musician in his own right, and we're going to hear more from him throughout the show. First, that nagging pain in the foot or the hip or those arthritic hands, whatever is hurting you, have you already gone through the whole routine with the doc in the box, the ER, the specialist, and it still hurts? And Teresa Scherfius, you and I talked a lot about my foot pain when we met.
Yes, we did.
And you're going to help me, and I know you are, with the suggestions that you made, as you can help so many other people who have a particular problem. What drew you into physical therapy? What a unique profession.
Well, I was very lucky. I decided to change careers when I was 28 years old. Always wanted to go to college, and pulled out U of L's manual and said, well, that looks like it'd be interesting. Physical therapy, nice and positive. You help people get over things and on with things so you can get on with your life and live the lifestyle that you choose, which is active and healthy.
And it's a tough program to get into, I might add, because I know several people who have failed it, and I know several who have succeeded. So congratulations.
Thank you, because I didn't realize how hard it was until I already told all my friends and family that that's what I was going to do. And then I realized better get busy and get into the books.
That's a scary thing. And, you know, when you talk about physical therapy, a lot of people don't really understand exactly what it is that you do. And you provide a service to patients in a physical therapy environment that they're not going to get anyplace else. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, I think we're truly the musculoskeletal specialists. You go to your physician and they can diagnose your problem and they can give you a medication for that, or they can give you a test for that, or they can do surgery and try and fix that. But as far as doing hands-on, getting your body back in balance as far as your muscle strength, your flexibility, your balance, all those things that make us physically well and active, that's what physical therapists do.
Absolutely. And you also are patient advocates, because I know that sometimes you can get swallowed in the healthcare system. And that's scary.
And I think that's one of the big problems we have now, because everyone is such the specialist. So when you go see your primary care and you need a specialist, then you go see the specialist. It says, well, maybe you need another specialist.
A different kind of specialist.
And so a lot of times a patient will come to us and they'll say, well, they told me what was wrong with me and what my options were, and they said I needed physical therapy, but I don't know what that means either, as far as what's the next step.
Yeah,
and so
do?
What we do a lot of is we just educate people on their bodies. That's one of the big things that we talked about is I buy a new car, I get a operator's manual, and I know page 27, how does my radio work?
Exactly. Nothing like that for a human body, right?
Exactly. And that's what physical therapy, that's the piece of the puzzle that we provide, is we help bring all those diagnoses together and explain to you that just because I have degenerative disc disease, that does not mean it's the end of the world. It just means that I'm like everybody else in the world. And these are the steps that you can take to make yourself better, so that you can go forth and do what you like to do.
Okay, some of the things that we are confronting as we age, and I'm specifically talking about women because I'm seeing it with my own mom, I'm seeing it with myself. Osteoporosis is a big deal, and not a lot of women are aware of the fact that as we age and we start to hunch over and we start to, break things more easily, that's something that exercise can definitely defer.
It's amazing. And you said that's the ticket. Exercise and knowing some do's and don'ts as far as postures that you might be in at work with osteoporosis. And again, that's where education comes in. You go and see your physical therapist and they can tell you exactly what do you avoid. If you're at a computer, of course, it makes you do this.
Yeah, you always are leaning over, and you get that neck jutting out, that neck thing going.
And all that feeds into the posture that osteoporosis wants to get you into. So, of course, there's lots of things that you can do to open yourself up in order to make yourself stronger so that you can have better bone density. And easy things everyone can do. You can do weight-bearing activities, and that can be anything as long as you're on your feet. That's weight-bearing activities. You can do resistive training because that builds bones. Think about the astronauts when they were at when they were on the space station for the first time for that long period of time. Remember, they were carried off in a
on stretchers.
In a stretcher, yeah.
Well, you know what I did, too? I used to sit at a desk doing the weather for many, many years. So I'd sit for hours putting together my weather stuff. And I finally moved a ball, an exercise ball, into the place of the chair. So I had that constant movement. Plus, I love to move, and I never sit still. But that made a huge difference in the back pain that I had been experiencing.
And that's because our bodies are designed to be dynamic. We're supposed to be active.
That's right.
It's when you're still or you hold a posture for too long of a period of time that your body's not designed for that.
That's right. Cardiovascular issues, another thing that exercise and physical therapy, oriented exercise can help us with.
And the big thing is we're all at risk for heart disease. We're all at risk for diabetes. There are lots of things that are going on in our lives right now that are pushing our risk higher for that. And one is inactivity. And
high fructose corn syrup in every food we eat.
Yeah. Everything comes back to diet and exercise.
I know.
But there was a study recently from the American Heart Association. It said that really you can reduce your risk of diabetes, stroke, heart disease by performing 30 minutes of activity a day.
And that's activity. And that's not running a marathon.
And that's the big picture, is anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And you can break it down into, this was one of the most important things that I found, is you could break it down into 10-minute increments.
Nice.
So that means that I can get up in the morning and do a 10-minute walk on the treadmill, or I can take my dog out for 10 minutes, and then 10 minutes at lunch, and then 10 minutes after dinner, and you've got your 30 minutes a day, and it reduces your risk of heart disease, stroke, diabetes, the big ones that get us.
Yeah. See, if I take my dogs out for a 10-minute walk, that means I walk for 50 minutes every single time, all 5 dogs.
That's what I was going to say.
I like
you
that.
have more than one dog. I knew that.
In great shape.
You're going to be in awesome shape.
Parkinson's syndrome, multiple sclerosis, 2 of the biggest things that we're seeing appearing, and it's really causing a problem. And for folks who are dealing with those 2 particular things, exercise and physical therapy in a medically oriented gym, which is something that is a brand new concept, and I really like the sound of it, can really help us deal with those 2 problems.
Right, and that's something that's new in Louisville, and it's called a medically oriented gym. And the whole idea is many people, once they're diagnosed with something, they have no idea what to do after that. Or they go to physical therapy, and then your insurance benefits are done. So now what do I do?
Yeah,
because I don't have a safe place that I can go and feel comfortable and know that there are healthcare professionals around me that can notice, oh, something's changed with you.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to change your program a little bit. So a medically oriented gym is the new concept, and it's set up just for people that you can't just go to the local Y or Milestone because it just doesn't have the healthcare professionals there. Sometimes it's not as intimate. A lot of people are intimidated.
Well, it's not as one-on-one as some
Exactly.
place that you would go where you had somebody working with you individually. You know, and folks who've had brain trauma, either from an accident or a stroke, perfect candidates for this type of work. Basically, you've got problems with decreased strength, decreased flexibility, a complete loss of balance in all of these issues, whether it's brain trauma, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, whatever. And it's wonderful to know that there are people and places. So what we would suggest is that you get in touch with a physical therapist, and there are many to choose from in Louisville. Teresa, is there an organization?
There is the APTA, and it's apta.org. That's American Physical Therapy Association.org. And you can go on that site, and it actually has Find a PT, just a little button that you click.
That's awesome.
And you put in your zip code and how many mile radius that you wanted to check for, and you can find specialists, whatever you're looking for.
And we can also ask you. So
Sure.
I'm going to send folks to the Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group for more information and medically oriented gyms and what folks who have different problems, whether it's an injury, a stroke, a disorder, can do to help themselves. You guys have a website, right?
Right. It's physicaltherapygroup.com.
Okay. And give us a telephone number just in case we've got some questions.
502-493-3800. And again, that APTA website is an excellent resource as well because it has lots of things on there as far as just put in what your problem is, and they'll give you some ideas.
Well,
as
thanks
well.
for your expertise, because a lot of people get a little freaked out about the idea of physical therapy, and I know that I went the whole gamut of everything before I went to a PT, and now I'm actually getting relief from my foot. So thank you.
Very welcome. That's
I didn't
what
even
we're
go
all
to
about.
you, but you
So that's
certainly-
what it's all about.
You certainly validated what was told to me and backed me up. Good job. Thank you very much. Teresa Scherfius with the Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group. Great information about physical therapy as the last resort, or maybe even the first resort. You could save yourself a lot of time and money. If you love theater and dance and you need some rehearsal space, my next guest is going to be able to help you with that. Barb Cullen is making it happen for you. It's a look inside Vault 1031 coming up right after this Paul Carney musical interlude. Was beautiful.
Thank you.
What was that called?
That's a version of Toronto, a traditional old flamenco instrumental thing.
So a lot of what you've done for us so far is flamenco oriented, and I really love the music, and I love that Spanish influence. And I'm going to ask you as we get a little bit farther into the show to play something non-flamenco oriented. So be thinking,
Okay.
because I just want to hear what you can do. I'm going to push your boundaries a little bit.
Glad to have him
Push your skill set. We want to thank Paul Carney for sitting in with us tonight, too. We had a medical emergency with our scheduled musicians, so June and Mike of Take Two, we wish you well. Hope to catch you again on the rebound in January. Hope you're feeling better. And, Paul, thanks for being a pinch hitter.
My pleasure.
I couldn't imagine a better pinch hitter. Barb Cullen joins us to talk a little bit about Vault 1031. First of all, I want to know how you named this place.
Well, we named the place because we're at the location is 1031 South 6th Street.
Perfect.
And we are literally in the Armored Car Company, the building. And all the original vaults are still there.
The Armored Car Theater Company. How cute is that? Well, you and John Huffman have been friends of mine for I don't know how many decades now.
Long.
But I certainly love you both, enjoy you both, and you are a fabulous dancer. He's a fabulous actor. You guys have created this wonderful concept to provide those of us who are in the theater, the acting, the musical, whatever, communities, dance and acting and music rehearsal space, which is so difficult to find in this town at a reasonable price that poor starving artists can afford.
Right.
So talk to us
exactly.
a little bit about what your plans are.
Well, it's actually a neighborhood group that got together. One of the neighbors had the building. she had a little party, and she took us around the building, and she said, "Could we put a theater in here?"
How cool.
And we said, "Yeah, we think we can." I've been working for the past...
In a vault.
In a vault.
A murder mystery in a vault. Go ahead.
I've been working for the past 5 years up in a theater called Encore Musical Theater in Dexter, Michigan. So I'm here a month, there a month, here a month, there a month.
Everywhere a month?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Old
that's
MacDonald
right.
had a farm. You travel a lot.
Yeah,
But
travel
it's a
a lot.
living, and that's where we have to do, sometimes we have to go someplace else to make a living.
That's right. Sometimes we have to do that
Yeah.
and keep reinventing ourselves
That's
as
right.
artists,
Exactly.
and teachers, and become something that you didn't think you were going to be, but it all works out in the end. So I've been back and forth up there, and it's a warehouse.
In Dexter.
In Dexter,
Okay.
126 seats, and it's up in Michigan. For a while when I first started up there, things were rough. The economy
Yes.
had fallen out. A lot of homes had gone, were
cars.
for foreclosure. Exactly.
Bad deal.
And we saw the town turn around just with this little theater. And we thought maybe we could do the same thing in the Limerick district.
I like that.
Louisville.
Yeah. So right now, this is the Armored Car Theater Company, and the space is Vault 1031. What exactly do you have? And tell us how we can see pictures, because you have a fabulous website.
Oh, yeah, we have a great website. We're also on Facebook.
Yes.
We put a lot of our pictures on Facebook. C.J. Fletcher and Eugene Thomas are the artists, so we also have art.
Marvelous.
When the building, the armored cars used to drive down a long hallway, and then they would dump the loot in the vaults. So all of this is still there at Vault 1031.
Isn't that amazing?
We just recently did a Kickstarter project, and we were able to, through the campaign, we had $15,000 donated.
Barb,
I know.
That's amazing.
it was-
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is it
So-
still going on?
No, actually, we've been able, since that time, we have the new spring bamboo floor that
Oh,
was
nice.
just installed. Tomorrow, the mirror gets put in.
How exciting.
And, yeah, it's great.
So talk to us
great.
about this bamboo floor, because I know that one of the biggest problems dancers in general have is they are expected to perform on any surface. And it's not healthy, and it's not a good idea, because it can really hurt your joints. Where's that physical therapist? Get her back in here. Talk to us about the bamboo floor.
Right. If you do repetitive motion over and over again, which is what dancers do,
Yes.
which is what you do when you're in theater, when you're learning the staging
Yes.
of the shows, if you're working on concrete all the time, you're probably going to get shin splints.
Yes.
And once
Or
you
worse.
yeah. And once you get them, you can pretty much count on the fact that you're going to get them again.
Yeah.
There are certain exercises that you can do to help prevent that, but probably the worst thing is when you're in the middle of a show and you get shin splints,
Yeah.
because you got to go on anyway.
Yeah. I used to run, and I remember the
Yeah.
agony of having to deal with that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to create any more problems for a dancer than they already have, which is
Right.
wear and tear on your body. So putting in a bamboo floor, a great idea. The theater space itself is spectacular, but how are we going to know when you're ready to start providing rehearsal space? Are you going to announce it?
It actually, you can start renting the space now.
Wow,
We
cool.
we actually started renting the space. I think we're probably on 4 or 5 companies that have already rented our space, and they're so excited because a lot of times they're going to end up rehearsing in a basement somewhere,
Exactly.
or and it's going to be concrete, or it's going to be a floor that's not really stable.
Somebody's yard,
Yeah.
typically.
Parking lots.
Yes, exactly.
You'll find space wherever you can.
And the rates are extraordinarily reasonable, which is kind of you.
Yes, yes.
So thank you.
Well, of course, we
Because you're performers yourselves. You
That's
know how
right.
hard it is to make ends meet.
That's right.
Tell us about the new Play Slam.
The new Play Slam, let me see, I think the next one is January 28th, and it's pretty exciting. It's we've invited writers who are writing new new plays.
Great.
And we invite all of our actor friends to come in, and the actors don't know what they're reading. It's all cold reading.
Wow.
And it's pretty entertaining. And we're doing that in the rehearsal space. Things that we wanted to do in the theater, because the theater hasn't been funded yet. We're still working on that. But things that we wanted to do in there, we thought we can get this started in the rehearsal hall.
Yes, you can.
So that's what we're doing in the rehearsal hall, too.
What is dessert theater?
That's one of the projects that we want to do.
I like that.
And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. One of the things I did as a young performer in Cincinnati, there was a group, we were called the Gaylord Troopers.
Okay.
And once a month, you could be between 10 and 18 in this little group in Cincinnati. And we would go to nursing homes, hospitals, county fairs, anybody that had a stage.
How nice.
And it was so great because you
nice.
learned your craft by actually doing it.
Absolutely.
So we want to do that at the Vault. We're calling it Dessert Theater. We're going to bus in assisted living places and nursing homes.
Fabulous.
Anybody who might want to come and see the shows, and then we're going to train young performers song and dance. We're going to get them costumed and put on a little review.
Dessert theater.
Yeah. And they'll get to
fun.
have cake and coffee, and
Excellent.
and we'll let the young folks hang out and meet and greet with the older people, and we think it might be a pretty cool thing.
Well, I love to give a voice to all of the performing artists in Louisville, and Crescent Hill Radio is huge on musicians, local and regional musicians, and I am huge on any kind of performers because I've grown up in performance, and you and I shared a little bit of time in our earlier, younger lives at Derby Dinner Playhouse,
Right.
And I sang USO around the world, and I just have a great feeling in my heart for anybody who puts themselves out there, whether it's to dance or sing or play an instrument or act, just in any performance capacity. And by the way, if you ever need a dog for a play,
Okay.
please feel free to contact me first, because I have 5 to choose from.
Oh, wow.
Of many shapes, sizes, and talents.
Great.
And many different voices as well.
well, we'll have to have a dog show over there.
Mommy, I'd like to be a part of it.
Oh.
That's Brady, my 100-pound lap Dane.
Oh.
And he's a very loving boy and very handsome, black and white, and photographs well.
That's his little pitch, okay? Okay, so thank you so much, Barb, for taking time to come in. If you want to check out Armored Car Theater Company or Vault 1031, Facebook,
Right.
websites as well.
Right, we have a website.
Give us that.
It's Vault1031.
Vault1031.com.
Right.
.com.
Uh-huh.
And if you look it up on Facebook, you'll see it as well. Also, look up Barb Cullen's Facebook page because she will obviously connect you
Right.
to Vault 1031.
Certainly.
And if you're looking for that kind of space, that rehearsal space, or you just want to become involved in the theater company, anything having to do with this, go ahead, write a check, make a contribution, anything.
Right, we're going to be doing lots of workshops.
I bet.
Adult workshops, workshops for kids, so we just want to get the community involved.
Love that. Can't wait to see it succeed. Barb Cullen from Armored Car Theater. And we thank you for taking the time to come in, and we want to remind you that 4 days from now, the Mayan calendar ends, and supposedly so will the world. Martha Creek says, not going to happen. And Cree and Hetty are going to jingle us through this next 45 seconds while we switch Barb and Martha, because Martha's going to explain it's really the new beginning. We'll be right back.
So much going on in this town. We're so lucky to have an expert around. But when you need advice on what's really going down, take it from Tara. With so many choices, it ain't easy. Get the bang for your buck, give your dollar a squeezy. The girl's got the answer, you better believe me. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara. Take it from Tara.
Oh, I love that jingle. And you know Cree and Hetty well, Martha Creek.
Well, I do, and their reputation precedes them. And
Yes.
Of course, I want them to join in everything that's going on that is good.
Absolutely. Well, they're fabulous musicians. And, everybody has been talking so much about what's going on in the world and how sad the world is and how heartbreaking the world is. And we really had that come home to us on Friday. And before we even start about our selected subject, you're someone that I've gone to for advice before, and you've always given me great, heartfelt counseling. I'd like to have you share for just a couple of minutes about how we're supposed to deal with the reality of what happened in Newtown, Connecticut this last Friday, Martha.
Well, I don't have any answers for anybody, Tara, including you. So if you heard what I offered you as advice or counseling, that's your own consciousness, that you were open to another way of being. And what we're experiencing here is a natural reaction to something devastating, tragic, and a clear example of what we're afraid of. Living in a state of fear and panic and terror and worry. And until that is shifted in us, then it's what we're going to pass on to the next generations, and that we leave our children then panicked and afraid and terrorized, instead of seeing another option here, that this is a part of the reality we live in.
Yes, it is.
And it is not sane or honest to pass on anything else to them, so that they can live also consciously and in presence, and not to take each day and each morning, each hug, each kiss, each goodbye as anything other than it is. For we're not promised anything more than the moment that we're in. And then we don't leave our children subject to believing in some fairy tale, some fantasy land, a reality that does not match reality, the physical realities. And then we can be present to them. They're teachers for us. So it's like these children can bring more understanding to us than we can bring to them by passing on our own insanity.
Well, my mother was a good example of what you were just describing. She was watching the news, and she was becoming overwhelmed. And I finally said to her, turn the television off. And people have to understand that they have permission to do that. It's not a bad thing to disconnect a little bit because of the horror of watching it so frequently.
Yeah, and that's the temptation, you know, that of Scripture's coming to mind about lead me not into temptation. And that's the temptation of the mind, to play that over and over and over and over. And to the mind itself, it doesn't know that it's not happening again and again and again. You've heard this taught from adult educators will coach us and tell us children shouldn't watch this because they don't have the discernment to know it's not happening repeatedly, that it was a one-time occurrence, which is horrible and tragic, and to discern that this is not happening over and over and over again. And we don't either. We're children in that way too. And then we're mesmerized by this, just like it's a horror movie, and it is, and we can change the channel anytime we please, and to leave that temptation, to lead me not into that temptation, to spin around in that throughout this Christmas season, when we could be some earthly good to the people that are here, particularly those families, to write notes or hold them in prayer, and to reach out to them in some way, and to serve the living.
Well, and you're going to be serving the living on the 21st, and we'll get to this Birth 2012 event now, because it is just going to be a spectacular, really 24-plus hours of activity, and it's centered at Unity of Louisville. The physical place is right in the middle of downtown, bringing East and West together. And I want you to tell me about your part of the Birth 2012, which is a global event.
It is, and I was inspired by it. Barbara Marks Hubbard is like the mother of this, the Birth 2012, who's a young 83, and she describes herself as being vocationally aroused. At 83, and that she cannot serve humanity in grand enough ways to meet this arousal that she has. And she's been a mentor and a teacher of mine for years, so it's like a lifting that up and celebrating it, and an absolute belief that I have that if the world ends, all is well. If it doesn't end, all is well. And we're going into an opportunity to actually co-create intentionally and purposefully a new era of compassion, that we're on an upward spiral, if you will, that says we're choosing here, that, what do you call it, free will or co-creation, participation, whatever it is, that in any moment we get to decide what we're going to call things, and we call it good. We have an experience of that. We call it bad. We have an experience of that. And I was very inspired by the mayor's initiatives for Compassionate Louisville in April and the Give a Day, which got me on fire again.
Good.
So it's a combination of those things to serve our community in a community-wide event in an epicenter of compassion, Unity of Louisville, this dome, and several faith traditions are joining from all over the place, all over the city and around. And we had plans to feed about 400 down there on Saturday, and I got word this past week that one organization is planning to bring 400 people.
Holy smoke.
So it could be 800. And, just everybody that's got some food cooked, drop it off at Unity of Louisville on Friday before 5 o'clock, and it'll be the fishes and the loaves. And we've got artwork that's been donated that's going up on a wall, and 24 hours of music celebration, ceremony, prayer, chanting, meditation, trapeze artists, yoga, qigong.
Amazing. I know a lot of the musicians that we feature right here on Crescent Hill Radio are involved in this event.
Of course.
John Gage is going to be there.
They are the conscious ones.
That's right. And that's what's so cool about it. Now, if you would like to attend any of the events at Unity of Louisville, what's the best way for us to, do we have to register, pre-register, let you know in advance?
None of that.
The above?
Get on down there.
Just be there.
Friday at 7 p.m. through 8 p.m. on Saturday. All are welcome. It's 100% free. Every one of these artists are donating their time and talent and treasure. All the food's being donated. The building's being donated. So it's absolutely a birthday party for the Louisville and a birthday party for humanity.
And I think Martha's dead serious when she says literally, if you have any food that you'd like to share, don't hesitate to bring it before Friday at 5 o'clock to Unity of Louisville, because as we just found out, we were expecting 300 to 400. Now we're going to have at least that with one organization, the possibility of 800 people being fed. That's a challenge that you embrace, though. I know it is.
I really do, and I'm at complete peace about it because it's what the season we're in. I was out shopping today for some things that hadn't been donated, and before I left, the people in the store had a buggy full of stuff free for me.
Oh, isn't that amazing?
So a buggy bought and a buggy free.
Isn't that
so
incredible?
That's the way it'll go, and it'll be there.
So when does this actually begin on Friday?
7 p.m.
Okay. We should be in the doors at 7.
Yes.
You'll be able to literally spend, if you wish, 24 hours going from venue to venue, because I think you're set up in 3 or 4 different locations.
Yes. Under the same roof.
Okay, so there's a big sanctuary where the big acts are going to take place, and then there are 3 smaller venues where you'll have the different practices of yoga and qigong, and then you'll have all of the wonderful meditations and dance and drumming.
Prayer, chanting.
Prayer and chanting, all of which will be a tremendous opportunity for us to celebrate birth instead of marking off the last day on the Mayan calendar.
Yes, and it's the day the light starts to come back in.
Isn't that amazing?
And that we're all invited, particularly around even what's going on in Connecticut and around to, a Rumi quote is, yesterday I was so clever I was going to change the world. And today I'm going to change me. And that's the direct route.
And that's kind of something that I've been learning over the last few years, in part, even if you don't want to take the credit for it, I'm going to give it to you. The only person you really can change is you. And if you change yourself, you start to observe change in everyone around you, which is quite an amazing thing.
And the world changes.
And the world does change. So one person at a time, you can participate in this wonderful Birth 2012 event, and we hope you will, whether you bring that food down and help to feed the loaves and fishes multiplication of people, or whether you just come to enjoy it.
And regardless of what you believe, everybody's welcome. So if that's the last day, the dark day is the last day, what a better place to be.
Absolutely.
Than there with us in that holy space in a holy time. So 100% of all belief systems are welcome. There's no religious agendas here or other agendas otherwise.
Exactly.
Simply a time of celebration. So it really is literal also that 100% of everybody's invited.
Okay. I don't want to take away from the excitement of the Birth 2012 event, but I do want to mention something that you are very skilled at, and that is facilitating the work of Byron Katie. And if you will talk to us for just a minute or two about Byron Katie, it's something that can really help people change their lives and change their minds by just turning their thoughts around. It's a fascinating concept, and it's worked for me.
It's obvious. You look like a different person.
Isn't that something?
And that's literal also.
Thank
so
you.
www.thework.com.
Doing the work.
It's free. It's not dependent on any body, therapist, or philosophies or anything else. That's my favorite thing about it.
Yes.
So it's 100% accessible for anybody, and it is the end of suffering.
Yes.
And that's my direct experience and the reason I facilitate it. And I've had a long and interesting search for something that was the end of it.
Yes.
And that's what the work represents to me.
Yeah, so thework.com is somewhere where you can go and you can find out a lot online, but you can also call and speak to people like Martha who are trained in facilitation of this method of turning your thoughts around and getting rid of the negative and actually changing the way you approach a situation to enable you to get through it with a whole lot less pain. That's the idea, right?
That's their idea. One way hurts, one way doesn't.
And I prefer the non-painful
Yes.
method, personally.
Well,
Don't you, Paul?
Always.
And that's what I say. When we've suffered enough, we'll do something
We'll
different.
do something about it.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
amazing?
Yeah.
So, Birth 2012 event, you can look at the Facebook page, Martha Creek. Check that out for sure. Is there a website specifically set up for this event?
There isn't. It's been there was, and it's so quick we can't keep it updated
Exactly.
fast enough.
Exactly.
So Unity of Louisville has some information there.
Okay, good.
And then Facebook, though, and it's Unity Martha Creek, and I've got all the flyers, posters, schedules, anything is there. And that's the greatest contribution people can make, is to come out and be a part of it and to literally tell the world to come and be a part of this. It's going to be something we're talking about for years to come.
All right, Friday night, 7 o'clock, be there, Unity of Louisville, and plan on staying, if you want, for the entire 24 hours all the way through Saturday night. Friday to Saturday, a great celebration, and it happens to be the weekend of the solstice as well, for
It is.
anyone who likes to celebrate the change of seasons.
It is.
Love that.
And there's a group of us called Kooks for Compassion that will be there the entire 24-hour period. So if you're kooky,
Yes.
you'll be in good company down there, too. And to say that it's the Unity of Louisville, which is downtown Unity.
Yes,
There's been
that's
some
right.
confusion about that.
That's right. And it's
757 South Brook and College.
It's right next to the expressway.
It is.
So if you're on 65 and you see what used to be a Jewish temple, it's beautiful.
Exit.
It's very ornate, and that's where this thing is going to be. And that's why I said it's the epicenter of town. Martha Creek, thanks so much for being with
My
us.
pleasure.
Check out the Facebook. And we want to thank all of the folks who are our sponsors on this show. We're going to be hearing more from Paul Carney in just a few moments, but we especially want to thank Vicki Cochran, dentist, for helping to sponsor this first month of Take It From Tara. This program brought to you by Vicki Cochran Family Dentistry, a small dental practice that treats everyone as if they are family members. Vicki Cochran offers preventive, restorative, cosmetic, and prosthetic dentistry. She also performs minor oral surgery, some endodontics, and periodontics. Located at 2022 Brownsboro Road, find Vicki Cochran DMD on Facebook or call 502-897-3898. Vicki Cochran Family Dentistry, 502-897-3898. Well, I tell you what, that was an interesting conversation.
Very interesting conversation.
And I always love seeing Martha Creek and hearing from Martha Creek because she doesn't want to take any of the credit for what she shares with people, but somehow when she leaves, you always feel better.
You know, it was interesting, too, from my angle. I see the Christmas lights that were behind the two of you. And I swear she's one of those people that as she walked away from the Christmas lights, the lights just kind of
They followed her, didn't
followed
they?
her out.
We
So-
love you, Martha. Thank you for being with us. The Birth 2012 event is going to be spectacular.
Sounds amazing.
Friday to Saturday. And, you know, I tell you what, Paul, listening to you play the guitar is quite an amazing thing.
Oh.
It is. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take credit for that, too, because you are a fabulous guitarist. You play with Flamenco Louisville, and you guys appeared on Louisville Live with Becca White and me several times, and we loved everything that you guys did. And you just did a great tablao, a performance at Cafe Classico, which is one of our Frankfurt Avenue businesses.
Fantastic. Yeah, that was a good time.
Friday night, we stopped in. We saw the crowds surrounding the dance floor, people dancing and clapping along with the musicians and the dancers. You have a singer, you have a drummer, you have Paul on guitar, and you have this great array of wonderful flamenco dancers. And it just creates this extraordinary energy in a place that is so small, so intimate.
And
People
that-
sitting within a couple of feet of you.
And that's the environment for it. That's really the sort of environment that flamenco came up in Spain. The times that I've been lucky enough when we've been in Spain, my wife and I, Diana, And we've been in those small clubs, the tablao type clubs,
Yes.
what they call them. We always say that's where the magic happens. And back when this form would have begun, it would have been in people's homes. It would have been in the, the local tavern, this sort of thing.
Around the fire pit.
Absolutely.
Literally.
Absolutely. So we were so lucky when Tommy arranged for us to come in there and have that, because that's how intimate and close it needs to be. The energy that night was fantastic for us.
It was. And by the way, you have a new rehearsal space, which is literally on Frankfurt Avenue, which we love, on the avenue, and it's got windows. So if you're going by, you can see the dancers rehearsing.
If you see us in there, and I tell everyone, feel free to stop by. I know a lot of times when people see people dancing, they think, I'll look from outside, I don't want to disturb.
Yeah.
Come in.
Yeah.
We welcome people to come in. And the great thing about flamenco is it allows for all levels of participation. If you want to
because you've got little tiny kids in there, and then you've got those of us who are starting to really feel those dance steps.
But that's one of the things I always tell people, though. I think the youngest that my wife, again, Diana Di Nicola,
yes,
she does every once in a while little kids thing where we've got like 5 and 6 year olds.
How cool.
And then I think right now our oldest dancer is 72 or 3.
Amazing.
So, and one of the beautiful things about flamenco, and I think this is true whether you're dancing, whether you're a musician, whatever, is it rewards age, it rewards experience. We always say that, everything unnecessary falls away.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen these amazing dancers. In some smaller towns, you'll go to these places where they do the shows, and it's families that have done it forever.
Mm-hmm.
And always on the back row, there will be my Spanish is terrible.
The grandparents?
The abuelas, the grandmothers.
Yes.
And, the little Spanish ladies back there, they're doing palmas, and all of a sudden there's one piece where it's their turn to dance. And these ladies will stand, they're tiny, they're so little that when they stand up, there's no difference. It's, little tiny ladies.
Same size as the
Same
kid
size.
dancers, right?
But they'll get up and they'll just do a little flip of the wrist, one stomp, and it'll be so perfect.
That's it.
I mean, the exact right place.
That's all they need.
Brings the house down.
Isn't that amazing when you think about it?
Oh, it's incredible.
So you and Diana, I know, have traveled to Spain a number of times, and you bring back the education that can only be received from the master
costumes,
teachers.
And lots of costumes.
You guys do. You ship trunks of costumes. Diana, we have to talk to you about that shopping thing. No, but it's great because that's what makes Flamenco Louisville so authentic.
It's the costume.
It's the costumes and the dance. The dance has a lot to do with it, too, but literally, the women and the people who dance in this organization are so beautifully costumed.
Yeah.
And the movement is so authentic. Mm-hmm. Talk to us a little bit about your experience with the musical end of it.
I came to flamenco guitar in a really weird, roundabout way. Grew up in a small town in Louisiana. This will be a short story, I promise.
That's okay. We've got about 5 minutes.
Oh, I can fill that. So small town in Louisiana, outside New Orleans. Always had music around. My mom was the choir leader for the little kids, and she was the church organist. And then on Saturday nights, I would listen to the broadcasts out of New Orleans, broadcasting the devil's music, and every once in a while you could catch like the stuff coming down from Mississippi. So always steeped in music.
And radio, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
And so thought I wanted to be a musician when I was younger. Life kind of had its ideas, and I went through my period of wanting to be a professional, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I was in film and video production for about 15 years. Got out right before the last bit of my soul was sucked out of me on that one. But I really thought music was over for me, that it had just been too long. But I had done percussion at one point, and had actually, when I was in school outside Chicago, had played percussion for dancers, the Gus Giordano Dance Center there. And so I married Diana about 11 years ago, moved here to Louisville. She was so heavily involved in this thing, and I thought, well, I need to learn a little bit. I need to figure out what this is.
Yeah, because she is the flamenco dancer in this town.
I think so.
Yes.
But I knew that I wanted to at least understand. Didn't have any idea about participating at the time. So I started with percussion, and there's a box drum in flamenco called the cajon. Comes from Afro-Cuban traditions and all this. And so I learned to play that.
Which Lisa Cantor told me that you are absolutely superb at doing. Who is also a member of Flamenco Louisville.
She is, and we are thinking of her today. Hopefully she's listening right now.
Yes.
So I started with that. And I went to my first flamenco concert in New York about the same time, and with almost no Spanish, with no real knowledge of what flamenco was, by the end of this show, I was in tears. I was just totally overwhelmed. So, long story short, I did the percussion for a while. We lost our guitarist. Diana had just happened to give me a guitar earlier that year for my birthday.
Perfect.
So all of a sudden I had 8 dancers saying, guess what?
And we're going to hear a little bit of that right now. Play something fabulous for us. And, you know, if you want to sing,
I'm not really a flamenco singer.
That's okay.
You can sing beastie.
Black Water if you want to. Sing something from Louisiana.
All right. You threatened earlier that I was going to have to do something.
Yeah, I did. I want to push your limits.
All right, this is just going to be like a minute or...
Paul Carney.
My Creole belle, I love her well. Oh, my Creole darling, my Creole belle. When the stars shine, gonna make her mine. Oh, my Creole darling, my Creole belle.
All right, play under me a little bit. That was fabulous. I want to hear you play as I talk about what we're going to be having.
Okay.
And if you give us a little soft kind of Christmassy, holiday-ish type of music.
Christmassy.
Or flamenco, I don't care.
Okay, I'll do what I can.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. Next Monday is Christmas Eve, believe it or not. I can't believe it has come this quickly, but it's December 24th. And on Take It From Tara, we're going to have a very special edition for Christmas Eve. His people have gotten in touch with my people, and I'm actually going to have a conversation with Claus. I know it's probably the biggest get of my journalistic life, but we've managed to work it out, and I am so excited. So pull the family around the speakers, listen in. It's not what you think it is, and it's probably going to be an extraordinary experience. It's audio only because of, you know, the demands of the people who basically handle the man. But it's audio only, so you'll have all of your imagination to use, and that's coming up next Monday at 5, Christmas Eve, special conversation with Claus on Take It From Tara. And we want to thank our guest Donald Taylor of the Louisville Youth Group, Teresa Scherfius of the Bardstown Road Physical Therapy Group, Barb Cullen from Armored Car Theater Company and Vault 1031, and my lovely friend Martha Creek for the Birth 2012 event. Now don't forget to join us Christmas Eve. We will play out with the delightful and wonderful and extraordinary Paul Carney. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next week.